Let's say then that Marilyn is engaged with a certain energy, and then that energy is to be transferred to another person. And let's say the other person is masculine, so let's go and call upon our second volunteer. Yeah, if you would come out here. This is great, thank you. And your name, sir?
Patrick.
Patrick. So Patrick, you would stand here. Okay, and if you look this way. So we have a representative, this was how they thought of it, a representative of the masculine power, the power in the universe that's designated masculine, and a representative of the feminine power. Now, something about those two powers interacting produces an energy field. I call it the relationship field. So I wrote a book on this called Partners in Passion. The reason I called it Partners in Passion is because the word passion, when you look at the English language, it breaks into two parts. It says pass, as in pass me the sugar, ion. You look up the word ion in Webster's Collegiate Dictionary, it says an ion is a positively or negatively charged particle. So when you have a passion, you pass lots of ions. When two people share a passion, they pass lots of ions backwards and forwards between them. Now I'm sure you've recognized that they say like love at first sight. So you go into a space, you look, and your eyes catch someone. And their eyes catch yours, and something goes zip, zip, and it jumps across the gap. And you know that's the person you want to talk to, because there's been an energy exchange. You can be walking down the street. Maybe Marilyn, you and I could do this one. We'll be walking down the street, I'll be walking this way, you're walking that way, and you can see someone for a moment, and it's like, huh? Maybe not much past that time. And so that will get washed away, you'll dream that away, it won't make much impact on your life. But another time, you can be walking down the street, and you kind of slow down, and you catch each other's eyes, and you kind of find yourself looking back a little, and then you carry on, and then you know this moment where you go, yeah, and you both catch it, and you know that there is something exchanging. Yeah, between the fields. And then if you're not British, you might even go and do something about it. You know, and say hello or whatever happened. That's why alcohol is popular at parties, because it breaks the inhibit ions. Yeah, it helps, it breaks down a couple of barriers. When it's strong enough, it's a moment which can be destinic between two people. So destinies can change in the twinkle of an eye when there's something energetically jumps across the gap. So we know this, we know it from our experience. So in previous days, they deliberately tried to build that power, to magnify that power, so the men would get more connected, and the women would get more connected to that Mars and Venus energy. One of the ways they did it in Egypt was this. So if Marilyn, I'm going to move you forward just a little bit. Here we go, if you could just stand here. Patrick, I'm going to move you just next to Marilyn here. You're going to come just on her right hand side. I'm just going to position you both. So they would be standing next to each other, and then they had a particular posture. The man would put his left foot forward, the woman put her right foot forward. The woman would close her right hand into a little fist, the man would close his left hand into a little fist. The man would take his right hand, you have to move a little bit closer now. Man would take his right hand and without touching would place it just at the base of the woman's spine. The woman would take her left hand and again without touching just place it at the base of the man's spine, just literally about an inch away. Now that is a posture which then the eyes would be looking all the way out through the window. So you'd be looking through the window, beyond the mountains, all the way off the planet. So you're looking forever. That's a look you'll see often in Egypt. It's the look of transmitting energy through the eyes. It's how you get to see auras and energy fields, because the eyes have got two kinds of systems. One is physical for focusing, the other is energetic for sending energy. When you transmit enough energy, it's the energy that leaves your eyes meeting the energy field of another person that sends out the colours. That's how you can see an aura. Or at night you can look up and you can see the energies coming off the trees. If you look right through the trees, you see the different energies coming off the trees, like flashes. You can sometimes see silver passing through the trees, like tinsel at Christmas. It's what Christmas trees were originally. Someone went out and they saw coloured balls hanging off the tree. They're there energetically, and then they turned it into what we call a Christmas tree. The person who started that was Martin Luther, who started that Reformation process. He was a man who saw things energetically. So it's energy worlds. So here we have, thanks for you two guys here. Here we have, no, just hold just a little bit longer. Here we have a posture where what's happening is the right hand in the man, in Egypt they use this a lot, the right hand in the man transmits, it's the major transmitter. So it's an energy transmitter. Not totally, but by 2/3, it's a transmitter. In the woman, the left hand is the transmitter. So what they would do was set it up so the man's transmission is going into the woman's spine, and the woman's transmission is going into the man's spine. And they're actually charging each other's systems through that position. Can you feel that? Oh yeah?
The temperature is really soaring.
It feels like the temperature's, yeah? 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 Okay, so maybe you better move away from that for a moment and then tell us what it's like. Yeah? Does it feel like you could stay like that for a long time? Yeah?
Fall over.
Yeah, okay. I mean, get that. They're saying it could fall over. And it's only, you say, what are we doing? All I did was put my leg forward and stick my hand out. It's not a lot. It's not like a complex ballet move. I didn't just do a double pirouette, you know, with extra sauce. All I did was stand there, do that. Well, originally, as dancing became more physical, it needed more and more flips and twirls and twists. But when you've got the energy, you don't need the big movements. So this is the root of what they were doing in Egypt to boost the masculine and feminine power. And if you go, for example, to the Egypt section of the Metropolitan Museum in New York, you'll see many, many postures using this exact, many statues using this exact posture. And what they were doing was boosting their mutual energy. Now, if we take it another little step, so if you move away from each other, now, there's a natural process. You just step away one more step, and then if you just turn to each other, and looking just in the eyes, just make a small, with the eyes looking up, make a small bow. Now, that is the beginning of the bow that became the bow and the curtsy in court dancing. Because what you have, it's actually, a bow produces a bow of energy which travels from the eyes, because the eyes are the only living part of us that you can see. Much as we might like and put aged vanishing cream and all the rest on the rest of us, this is all dead skin. All right, it is. Yeah, but the eyes are alive. So when the eyes are looking at each other, there's that bow of energy that's connecting.